Welcome, Jack Jewsbury, to the podcast. It is a pleasure to have you on, bro. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Appreciate you guys having me. It's good to, I saw your face on one of the sporting trivia nights a few months ago, but Sal, I haven't seen you in a while, so it's good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you again, Jack.
We've been together more now than ever in these Zoom calls. So, this will be a little bit different, though. No trivia questions, only answers that you know.
Okay.
Maybe some that you don't really want to share with us, but you'll dig into some of these and enjoy it. But we're missing one of the three legs of the podcast today, so it'll just be me and Sal. And Sal will probably take over some of the Portland questions, and I'll try and take over some of the Sporting Kansas City questions. And we'll start off with some quick hitters. So if you've ever listened to the show, have you listened to the show before?
I've listened to portions of it, those minute or two increments that you guys will post on social media. I haven't listened to the whole thing, so I haven't, I guguess, seen this part.
So we start off with quick hitters, some easy questions to get you warmed up, feel comfortable, loosen you up a little bit. Then we'll ask the interview questions where it can range from, your career, what you're doing now, MLS, all that kind of stuff. And then we get into the nitty gritty, which is Ike's interrogation, which me and Sal will collaborate on, asking you 5 questions where you can plead the fifth one time.
Okay.
If you don't plead the fifth in any of those, you can ask us any question that you choose.
Okay.
And you can only plead the fifth one time, so you got to answer.
Don't start thinking you can plead the fifth like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, so don't do it on question 1, basically.
Depends. Exactly. Maybe we throw the hard one at you to start.
That's what Mike does.
Yeah, I might have just changed your order now. Damn it.
All right, we'll start with some quick hitters, some easy questions, or so we think.
All right.
Best player you've ever played with?
Preki.
Yeah, that's an easy
one. That's kind of, we
only 2-time MVP ever in MLS. So
he was only like 42 when you played with him too, so he was probably in his
I'm
prime.
not you guys. He was 41 years old at one point and cutting me up left and right. I mean, I was like this eager little rookie trying to win the ball, and the guy at 40 years old is just cutting me up, and I don't
think about that.
And I know it's coming every time.
Like you're 39.
You're 39.
Jack, you're
right?
39. Like think about that in 2 years, like dicing some rookie up. Like
I'll tell you what, guys. I went for a run this morning. There's no chance I'm going to be on a soccer field anytime soon.
I know,
dude. I have gone on exactly one run since I retired in March, and it was the worst day of my retirement.
And it was in preseason with New England. He didn't run any time.
I actually didn't count that, but yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. All right, Preki, good answer. All right, next question. And this, I thought about this one because of our little time at the Sporting KC game night. And so I thought best/worst appearance that you've ever made in MLS.
My worst?
Just something that was like ridiculous. Cause you came into the league early on enough where there were some appearances that I don't think we'd see anymore. And I'm pretty sure fans don't realize the crazy things that you guys used to do, especially here in Kansas City when, you first came on the team.
Gosh, we had, and this might have came up, I actually think it did. We had a full team appearance actually where we went on the road. We used to have these things they called in Kansas City called the barnstorming tours. And what those would be is basically for the Wizards back in the day, we would go around to smaller towns around Missouri, Oklahoma, to play games just to build the brand for the club and, to play some exhibition games. And so one of the games, and we'd played Dallas in quite a few of these games. And I want to say we were playing them in, it was either Tulsa or Oklahoma City. And so we get on a bus. And the night before, we're staying in one of these. I think you remember the story, but we're staying at the hotel. Typically on a road trip or whatever, even exhibition game, you're going to go either you're going to get per diem and eat out on your own, or you're going to eat as a team at the hotel. Well, this one they were like, "Hey guys, we got an invite to go to this person's house for our pregame meal the night before," and so we all jump on the bus. And I kid you not, we pull up into like just a normal neighborhood. We park the bus on the street. We all go into this person's house, their residence, and we eat in the basement of this family's house. And this whole club soccer team had they had their whole team there, and all these kids were around, and we were playing soccer with them. And to be honest, it didn't seem that out of the normal for what MLS, where we were back then. And the family served spaghettis and meatballs, and we had.
You sure it wasn't Sal's family, dude?
Yeah, it's like Zizo's FC all over again.
There we go.
But yeah, we had, garlic bread, salad, and we were all just looking at each other like, you have got to be kidding me. We're in the basement of a family's home for a match. So that one sticks out. I mean, there's a lot of fun ones, but that's one for sure that tops the list.
I'd love to see like, a team nowadays go to someone's basement and like what DP is going into someone's basement. Like
they got to open
like Carlos Vela is going into like some, basement in LA, or I guess you can't have basements in LA, but like, I'm just thinking of something like that. It'd be hilarious.
And I don't think we got per diem either. So we were doubly upset.
But you did get garlic bread. So well
That's true.
done. All right. Moving on.
All right.
All right. There's some players that you played with in Kansas City that also went to UNC. So out of these players, who would you most let me just say that again. Player you'd most want to be stuck on an island with. This was actually a Rob Thompson question, by the way.
Okay.
So here are the names. Kerry Zavagnin, Michael Harrington, Colton Storm, or Mikey Lopez. I honestly don't even know how well you know some of these guys. So
Colton Storm or Mikey Lopez. I don't think he played with any of them.
That's what I'm saying. But that's a robo question.
Yeah, I only played with 2 of the 4, so I can't comment on those guys. So I guess I'd rather not be stuck on. Probably Michael Harrington. Reason being is like I'm not a fast guy at all, but I could probably outrun Kerry Zavagnin if something was chasing us down. So yeah.
Yeah, Kerry's got a few years on Mikey as well, so.
That's true. So,
can we take some time to bring up Mikey Harrington's April Fool's Sporting Kansas City moment?
Oh my gosh!
Like if the audience hasn't seen this, please maybe we'll like have Sporting like post the link again. But I never saw it until I was in Portland.
You have to Google it. Yeah. April Fool's Michael Harrington. I don't think it'll ever be beaten in my lifetime. I mean, it made SportsCenter.
Yeah,
I think that was actually maybe a robo thing too, right?
Yeah, I think he had a big hand in it.
Yeah. So Rob Thompson used to be, press officer. Now he's like, top of the market. I don't even know what he considers himself, but he's been around forever in the league and in Kansas City. He knows all the guys, big friends with Jack, and so. Yeah, he's been around it all. So I think he created that with and he's done some other ones too. Yeah. He's done some other ones along the years too.
Yeah, Colton Storm had one, right? That was like somewhat like it was.
Was that
good.
The Dancing with the Stars?
No, it was, I think Peter like met him as like a Tinder date or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
But nothing beats Harrington. So you got
to go check Harrington out.
Yeah, you guys. He thought he was a cat for a Maxim magazine, Animals and Athletes, and the makeup. He thought it was like a professional makeup artist, and it's like just the black face paint, on
like what you would put on your 7-year-old daughter on Halloween.
And the best, and when you watch the video, the best part is like you'll see the team's reaction in the locker room or at the training grounds, and you'll see his reaction, and he's embarrassed. But he still thought, even after seeing it, he's like, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, but I'm still going to be in Maxim. Like he thought he was still going to be an Animals and Athletes in Maxim. Like he still really believed it. And you're like, no,
he's the perfect guy for that too, because he's like just vain enough where he would like believe it to be true. I was like, yeah, of course they want me to do this. I mean, of course.
You gotta love Mikey. But yeah. he took the bait on that one.
Yeah, go check it out if you haven't seen it. All right, last question of the quick hitters. MVP of the Portland against Sporting Kansas City game in 2015 in the playoffs. I'm sure you remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Maxi Urruti, Rodney Wallace, Kawarsi, or the double post?
Double post. I mean, we have a bar named after it in the stadium.
That's shocking,
I guess
dude.
I should say.
I still feel for Stod for that.
Yeah, I still can't believe it. We'll play it like once a year, and I'm just in awe, especially since I missed my PK. And, you know, those games when you're playing your old clubs, as you guys know, those are ones you kind of circle. And so to have been bowed out of the playoffs in that way, I would have been pretty bummed. But what a crazy game.
It was.
You took one, right?
Yeah, I took one. I took the first one after Diego missed his first one.
Yeah.
Diego, I took it.
I remember watching that game pretty intently because I had just gone to New York, and you guys obviously were my former teams, both of them. So it was really interesting to watch that. That game was like crazy. Now I'm actually, I don't know, Jack, if you knew this, John Kempen is actually our goalie out here in Loyal. He's on loan from Columbus right now.
I didn't know if he was going to make that list too.
He played well when he came on, right? But then he did everything right except you can't expect him
to be too excited about stepping up there. But
he saved it.
I mean, the crazy thing about that game, and I get a ton of grief from people because I just sailed it over the crossbar. Luckily, Beasler did the same right after me, so it made me feel a little bit better. But
right.
The funny thing about that is, you know, I played with Carey. I took PKs at different times when I was in KC. And so days before that match, I remember thinking like, all right, if this does go to PKs, I'm going to be one of the 5. What am I going to do? And I, you know, during my time in KC, I'd always kind of gone a certain direction. And I was like, and they probably never looked back or even thought twice about it. But
it's in your head, right?
I was like, you know what? They definitely watch those videos. They know where I typically go. Should I go the opposite way? And I was like, nope, I'm just going to bang it up the middle. And I did, but about 100.
I mean, that's basically what Bees did too. Like he tried to kind of just like stroke it into the middle, and then it looked like he tried to – I don't think he tried to chip it. So
really?
Yeah, I think he tried to like just kind of kick it and make sure I don't know, like he almost like tried to make sure it didn't go over, and then he like kicked it too soft or something. I don't know.
His was a little bizarre because it almost looked like he was just trying to chip it down the middle, and I know that's not
right.
You know, that's not his MO. That's not his game. So what a wild game that was.
So real quick, Jack, to piggyback off of penalty kicks because it's a good question, and I was there for the moment, but there's a lot of fans that have this question. So DC 2011.
Yeah,
I'm running into the box. Kenny Cooper's taking penalties for us right now in Portland, right? He misses – did he miss the first one? He missed the first one. Okay.
Yeah, it was – the first one was saved.
Saved, but the goalie came off the line, so they called it back, right?
Yep.
Did he go again?
So, he steps up, takes the second one. Ahmed saves it again. They call him again for coming off the line.
And then I hear behind me John Spencer from the sideline saying, "Get Kenny the fuck out of there."
Yeah, he had some choice words, and he's screaming at me, you know, and I'm like, you know, Kenny is the nicest guy in the world. So I can attest to this. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was banging in a few goals that year, but I think, you know, for strikers, they're going to pick the ball up and take it. But I think he was going through a little bit of a tough stretch there. And so.
And he was begging and pleading to go for the third
and
one.
So it's hard when your coach on one side yelling at you to take the ball out of someone's hands, and then you've got this great guy in Kenny that's kind of begging you not to take it in front of the Army. I mean, it was on that end where the Army's right there. And I remember being like, Kenny, dude, I have no other – I don't know what to tell you, pal. Like, this is – I've
we got to listen to the coach, right, at that point.
Yeah, so, you know, took it. Luckily –
Made it.
And so it was an awkward situation.
But after the game, Kenny
he
like,
came in
apologized to the team and was like, "Look, I know, like, I'm, you know, gonna listen to the coach and blah blah blah." But Kenny's a good dude.
It was all good, but it was a difficult situation in the moment, especially.
Did you guys have a set penalty kick taker? Like
up until that point, no. Board? Right? Now, after that, it was Jack. After that game, it was Jack.
It was solidified, but up until that point, I don't think we ever. In the corners, we would have like who was taking them and all these things, but like, which is kind of interesting, right? And
I'll never understand that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the biggest chance you have to score a goal? It's a penalty kick.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna set someone up to take a corner, if you're gonna write who's gonna take free kicks, you should always have someone that's gonna take the penalties, right? Whoever the coach thinks is the best penalty kick taker. And
because I mean, you see it, and we've seen it even here over the last few years, right? There's certain guys, Espria will grab the ball out of Valeri's hands, and you're like, hold on, what's going on? Now, most of the time when he's done it, and Valeri's nice enough guy, he's let him and he's made it, but still, you're like, how does this?
Right.
How does this? Yeah, but don't you think maybe at that time, you know, Jack, we were a new team. Don't you think, we didn't have so many egos on the team. So at that point, maybe Spenny was just thinking like whoever like feels confident enough to step up and take it.
Yeah, I think naturally Kenny probably would have been that guy, right?
Yeah.
He was our big star and goal scorer on the team. And so I think naturally it would have been him. I just think, probably some of those struggles we were going through that first year made that situation hypersensitive. And man, that was pretty wild. I don't think I've ever seen the ref call it twice, right? Where he comes off his line a little bit, but
it's like Jermaine Defoe recently MLS posted that where he's like screaming at Gilberto.
And I love that one though. But his face after
was so funny. So funny.
All right, I want to bring we're through the quick hitters, right. So I hope you're warmed up now. I wanted to bring you back all the way to like rookie year. So this is a story that I heard. So we have lots of PIs all over the league, as you may or may not know. We know people that have played with you that you don't remember and that maybe you do. And don't worry, we'll get to the Davey Arno section soon, but this one is not yet Davey Arno. But I heard this story that you signed. First of all, you graduated college before you came to MLS, correct?
I did, yeah. I graduated in 3.5 years.
And then after your present for graduating was signing a rookie deal for, correct me if I'm wrong, $11,900 your first year. Is that what it was back then?
I don't remember the total. I'm scarred more by every 2 weeks, the paycheck that would come in, which I think after taxes was either $365 every 2 weeks or $356. And that $9 might not sound like a lot, but back then, that's a couple beers on the plaza.
Or a lunch. That's one lunch.
Oklahoma Joe's, like one.
And
meal.
more importantly, and this is what I really want to get to.
Okay.
Developmental contracts. You guys did not have health insurance. Is there a story to that? Because that's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated college, professional soccer player making $365 every 2 weeks and no health insurance. That's absolutely correct. Now, I was able to, since I graduated a little early, my parents could kind of keep me on theirs. So I had health insurance, just not through the league. But yeah, it is crazy.
Come a long way, hasn't it?
Dude, that is insane.
It's like it's just years.
It just makes me not happy like that happened, but happy that fans know about these stories, because like this league was built on guys like you and other guys. I mean, tons of guys like that, right? That came through, were really good soccer players, and yet came out of college making very little money, having to sacrifice tons. You were lucky enough that, you had parents that could help you out, but
yeah,
man, those are crazy stories for MLS 1.0.
We coached on the side. So, we trained in the morning, got home in the afternoons. We'd coach. We lived in a 3-bedroom. This is actually a pretty good story. So Taylor Graham, who now is working with Seattle on the front office side, Kevin Friedland, who played in the league for a few years, and myself, we were the 3 rookies that made it. Made it mean we got a developmental contract. So we were all roommates in a 3-bedroom in Overland Park, Kansas. So you're talking $850 a month for the apartment. So like in KC, we could somewhat survive. But when you're talking about guys living in New York and some of these other cities where the cost of living is just a different level. But we would another thing. So $850 a month. We're like, well, how are we going to do this? There's like one master bedroom that has a bathroom in it. And nobody wanted it, because that person we decided was going to have to pay like $40 more a month. And so we ended up flipping a coin to see who was going to get it, because no one wanted to pay any more money. But honestly, those are some of the best times and the best memories I have are with those young guys. And you mentioned Davey and Kevin and Taylor, like all of us, we were so tight knit because we all were going through the same struggles, and we all were coaching on the side. Taylor Graham, who graduated, I think he actually graduated with his master's in something from Stanford, was on a developmental contract with no health insurance, working as a waiter at an Italian restaurant or a French restaurant in Kansas City. Like, no joke. These are real stories.
That is insane.
From Stanford.
That's the love of the game, man.
And he did it, and he made it. And next year he, wasn't a developmental player. We all got – which is crazy too. We all got a regular contract for $24,000. So
Doubled
we were
your
going
salary.
out and buying shots at the bar. I mean, it was crazy. No, I'm just kidding. But it is nuts to think back on the minimums then versus now. But a lot's changed in the league. Who knows if we would ever made a team, right?
Right.
You talk about like the USL clubs now, and a lot of. I mean, I think I don't even know when I was drafted, the 4th or 5th round. I mean, if you're even in the 2nd or 3rd now, you're kind of on your way to for us would be Timbers 2, and so just the mechanisms of guys getting a chance early on in their career is different.
Yeah, it's rare you get that jump right away,
levels,
right?
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, most guys now, if you're getting drafted, even in the 1st round, you're starting off on their USL team, and then if you're performing there, then you're getting a chance. I mean, it's
so
really tough to go straight.
You've just got to prove it in a different way now. Where and the funny story with like Bob Gansler, who was my first coach in Kansas City. I mean, he didn't, and it was tough love. I mean, he didn't really think that we deserved to be on the roster. I think the funniest story about that is we go to like the Meet the Players event before the season, where all the fans are there. Not all the fans, but some of the fans in the Cauldron at the time. They're there and they're announcing all the players, and it's Tony Miola and Kerry Zavagnin and Preki and all these people, and they're clapping. And of course, the last 3 are these 3 rookies, and we go on the stage, and it's and so Gansler is on the microphone, and he's like, and these last 3, they haven't earned for me to say their name yet. So number 26, number 14, number 20, whatever it was, and called us up on stage by our numbers. And so, you kind of knew your place at that time, but you tried to put your head down, work hard, and earn some minutes throughout the year. And but I'll tell you what, Coach Gansler was one of the first guys that called me after I retired at the end of 2016. So it's not that they didn't care about you. It was just a different way to motivate players and stuff like that. So it is fun to kind of look back on some of those stories from the old days.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to get into the Davey section unless you want to add something else, Sal.
No, that's good. We can
well, before I get into the Davey section though, I'm going to let Jack, I texted you before we got on. I'm hoping that you came up with some Davey story, because he gave me a few here that I'm going to give to you here in quick succession pretty soon. So here's your chance to give your best Davey story before he gives your best ones.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, I've got a lot of Davey stories. A lot of them probably are not appropriate for this setting. But so I was trying to think, because you sent me a note saying I might need to think about this. So we've already kind of talked about like the developmental salaries, and Davey was developmental before, I guess, the year I got there, and then he went to minimum salary, so my rookie year. But one of the funny things is, I mean, Davey had this, I don't even know what year it was, but it was like a white Ford Taurus that we would just cruise around in, and nothing luxurious, obviously, it's a Ford Taurus, but no joke, you guys, when we would go on the highway, and I don't know the speed it was, but if you went over like 63 miles an hour, it was like this certain number. I think it was like 63, 68 miles an hour. His whole hood of his car would just start like shaking and like it was going to blow up. And it was just like, what is going on? Where are we? But that's all we could afford. And it's just so funny to like see whenever he finally got rid of that car and got like a used Audi, we were like, we've made it. We finally
I can relate with the used Audi, dude. I drove a used Audi for my dad, but for a while, you were probably here when I still had it, right?
Yeah, I think I was there when you bought it, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
This thing was something else. I mean, I don't think anybody gave him $1 to take it off his hands. But so my funniest story, though, I guess one of the best stories about Davey was, and again, it has to do with Coach Gansler, who again didn't love young guys to begin with. But so we trained at Arrowhead Stadium back in the day, but we trained, it was like a half mile from Arrowhead Stadium where the Chiefs play. So we would walk to training, come back. And so one day before games, we'd always have, the pregame video and stuff where we'd go over scouting reports and whatnot. And so we're all in the locker room right there at the stadium. and Davey had just gotten out of the shower, so he's totally naked except for he's got a towel on, and he's sitting right in front. So most guys, the locker room's kind of a U shape, and Gansler would be going over the video. And as he's going through this video and Davey's sitting literally right in front of him, all of a sudden you hear this, he ripped this massive fart. And it is just like reverberating off the carpet. And you're like, who the hell is that? And it was Davey sitting right in front of Gansler. And Gansler just gave him like the craziest stare you've ever seen. Just like, I am disgusted with you. I'm so disappointed in you. It's like that feeling when your parents say they're disappointed in you. But
I wonder what he would do now as a coach, like if a player did that.
Exactly. He'd probably have to laugh and tell a
dude.
story.
Yeah.
But I just remember I was like, I can't believe he let that one slip. And I'm not sure what Gansler's reaction to him personally after that was, but it was absolutely hilarious.
That's good.
All right. Well, you've got it off your chest a little now. So funny thing is, the very first story you told me was about Bob Gansler with you, and when he gave you your very first start. So do you remember going to breakfast with him or something?
Yeah, so for home games, which I'd never had a coach do this, the morning of the game, we would go also have a second meeting about the opponent. And it was at this athletic club in Overland Park. And so we would all drive there. There was a Krispy Kreme and a Denny's next to this athletic club. We knew we were never going to play some games, so we would leave the team meeting and go buy like a dozen Krispy Kremes, right? And take them back to the apartment. So it was like I had gotten loaned out to Syracuse Salty Dogs of the USL, and I finally got called back, and I played my first 2 games when I got called back. My first start, though, the second game that I played was at right back. And I was growing up my whole life, I was a forward. I got drafted as a holding midfielder just because I played there in the combine, but had never played right back in my life. And so he asked to go after the team meeting at the athletic club to breakfast with me, Chris Klein, and Kerry Zavagnin. The 4 of us go meet at Denny's. And, you know, Gansler's drinking his coffee, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, why? I think he was so nervous at putting me at right back because Chris Klein was playing right mid. And so he wanted him, and Kerry was D mid, so could come over and help me if I needed, that he decided we needed a full on breakfast talk about me playing right back. And I think I got subbed out after 45 minutes. I was so shook.
Ton of confidence in you, huh? Little Denny's meeting.
Cream. I ate it after that. I don't know.
All right. Second Davey story is, I guess you went through a phase. I don't know if you maybe got lost sometimes in your soccer career and you maybe thought you were something else, but you went through a phase where you thought you were an artist.
That's good. I actually forgot about that. Yeah. So 2004, Davey and I lived together, kind of a place near the plaza in Kansas City. And I totally forgot. I took like an art class, I think, in college or something. So I had all these like oil paint. And so my parents would be like, we don't want this stuff in our storage unit anymore. You got to take it. So I took it and I had all this oil paint in a plastic thing. And I told Dave, I was like, dude, I think, we got some spare time. I think I'm just going to start doing some artwork. And so I'd get these big canvases and I'd be in my bedroom and I'd look up like abstract. I liked abstract and modern stuff back in the day and furniture and all that. So I would like make paintings for our apartment that I thought kind of fit, but I would literally go into like Google and search like modern canvas and it would pop up and I'd try to copy it in my bedroom. But some of them turned out okay, I thought. And then funny thing, I kept them for years. I had like 4 or 5 of them. And when the new training facility here in Portland opened up, I don't know, somehow they made it into our moving van when it came to Portland. And so I had these things and my wife's like, what are these doing in our garage? You got to get rid of them. And so we had this bathroom in the back of the training facility and I took one of my paintings and I put it up in there. And so it was in there for a while. I think it's been redone a few times.
Was it in there when I was there?
No, I think it was later on. We found out about this bathroom, and so we kind of stole the key, and we let like the veteran guys know about this like secret bathroom, and there was like potpourri in there, and I
Not
put
the one
my
in the
artwork
like
in there.
makeshift equipment room. Not that
No,
one. Okay.
no, and so we put nice toilet paper instead of the cardboard stuff, and anyway, we made this thing all set up. So I used my artwork to dress it up a little bit. But,
You still do any artwork now, or are you retired from that too?
no, just kids art. That's all I do these days.
That's got to be expensive pieces then. 1 of 4 from Jack Jewsbury.
One of 4. I don't know where they are right now, but anyway, yeah.
All right, last question. Last Davey Arno section question.
Okay.
And I don't even know. I'm going to let you tell the story. I'm not even going to give you anything other than you tell me the full story. You were in preseason. You guys were roommates, I believe, you and Davey, and you got traded to the Portland Timbers. You left him some kind of love note when you said goodbye.
What did I do?
Do you really not remember? I'm going to have to tell the story that Davey told me. I thought you could tell it.
I don't even. Can you give me a clue? I've had a few concussions.
That's no laughing matter. But the story that he told me was you left a kind of a love note saying, you know, miss you, love you, I got traded, whatever. And you also left him a present in some sort of plastic bag.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. I wasn't expecting him to come out with that. When you said the love letter, I'm like, that's interesting. But yeah. So when I got traded, I mean, we knew it was kind of coming. I talked to PV and just told him it was probably my time was up. And so for like 2 weeks, they were working with different teams. And so I think I was at breakfast with everybody the morning it happened. And I got the text from PV, hey, will you meet me in my room? And of course you walk in and Carrie and all of them are in there. And so I knew it went down, but they all had to leave to go to training when I was like packing up my bags and coming straight to Portland to meet Sal and the guys after they had, I think in Seattle.
You came actually straight to, I was in the hotel room. We were roommates that first time you got traded.
That's right. And so, yeah, I decided to leave him a little nice note and a little present.
We'll let the audience guess what the present was. All right. Well, that's it for the Davey section. He came at you hard.
Gosh, I wasn't expecting the third one.
So after your little present that you left them, you came to visit me, and were we at the Nines? I can't remember, or the DoubleTree, one of the two. I can't remember the first hotel. No, I think it was like the DoubleTree by like the Rose Garden kind of.
Yeah, we were. That was like the hotel I stayed at for the.
I don't even know if that's the DoubleTree, but we were at.
Yeah, I came somewhere for like
Marriott,
a few days before that downtown, and then met you at the
DoubleTree. So 2011 hits. You're coming to the team. Did you have any clue that you were going to be the club captain, or was that just kind of thrown on you when you got here after the conversation you had with John and maybe Gavin and everyone?
Yeah, no, it happened real quick. I knew that we had a young team and all that, but I think I flew in one day, and then I think we left right away to go to Seattle for the preseason tournament.
No, and so was it Seattle? Okay, yeah, we just got back from Casa Grande, maybe.
But I wasn't with you guys then.
Yeah.
So I got traded like I think it was March 1st. So
it was like 2 weeks after me. Yep.
Yeah, you guys had just gone through like a hell of a preseason from what I remember you guys talking about. And so I met you guys. It was one of the first days that we went to Seattle, and I remember training with you guys, and nothing really came up about the armband at all. And because I was still trying to figure out, all right, who are these guys? What's the story? How are we looking? And right before the Seattle game, I think the night before, John Spencer came up to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about giving you an armband. Like, how do you feel about that? So Gavin wasn't involved. It was just Spencer and I. And I just said, hey, it's a huge honor. Yeah. I said, how do you think like the rest of the guys will kind of react or respond to that? Because the last thing, you guys had been working your tails off. You create some certain bonds with guys naturally. And so I didn't know if there had been any leaders that had just naturally rose to the top or whatever.
Which there hadn't really been.
Yeah. And that's what he said. He's like, hey, it's, we got a young team. You're, other than I think Troy at the time, I was really the only guy pushing close.
Troy and Kenny, right? I think were probably the two kind of
two
vets.
older ones.
Yeah.
And so I said it would be an honor if you think the guys would be okay with it. And he kind of said like, well, we'll soon see. And so we played that game against Seattle.
We won. We won that game.
I think we won. It went well. And that was kind of the end of the conversation. There wasn't anything more. I think the next day he said like, or after that tournament, he said, the armband's yours, congratulations. And so, yeah, it's something that for me, especially with the history of this club and everything, it was, quite the honor to be the first captain of the MLS era, at least.
Yeah. And it's nice to feel, that respect right off the bat and feel, wanted to the point where obviously they're naming you club captain and you really felt like you could help build something right in Portland.
Yeah. And I just wanted like the rest of the group, right? Like everyone else to feel like it was the right decision too. And so
I think we had like you said, such a young group of guys that were kind of looking for like guidance. A lot of guys hadn't played many years in the MLS. So like even me, like I was in the MLS 6 months before that probably was when I first came. And then, Darlington was a rookie. Chara just came to the league, like, some core guys that hadn't really played in the MLS. And so I think you were the perfect choice, to be honest. So it was good.
Yeah. It's something, I mean, with me being in LAFC for the first year, I know it's a different situation because Portland was a team before, but being on an expansion team in the first year in MLS, it's good having like a captain like that can just, kind of guide everything like you said. And it's pretty cool. I think, I was not the captain for LAFC, but there was a couple games in like Open Cup where Laurent Simon and Carlos weren't playing for whatever reason. And I was the captain. And even in those few games, I think off the field, I felt like I was one of the leaders in that team. And so, it's a cool feeling to be able to wear the armband. And I'm sure it was, pretty special for you as well, especially now seeing how well the team has done over the course of the last, 10 years or so.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where it almost gives you like a little boost of confidence too, when you're coming into a new team. And I really didn't, other than just playing against a few guys, I didn't know anybody off that team other than Ryan Poor because we played in Kansas City for a few years. So you're going into a locker room where you don't know anybody. And so, to gain some respect in that regard, hopefully guys, like similar to what you're talking about, talking around the league had heard positive things as well, but you just never know how they're going to react or respond to that. So, it was great. So,
do you think that attributed to like you having your career year kind of in 2011, you made all-stars, you scored goals, assists?
Yeah, man, I think it's for the first time in my career, it was someone that kind of said like,
this team's yours.
You're my guy. Like I believe in you, take this, let's lead this team. And so you feel a sense of responsibility every time you step on the field. And I think that's the one thing that I remember from like, as much as it doesn't matter putting it on, is just like having that armband is like, all right, I need to do more. I need to be better.
It's a different weight on your shoulders, right? Like when you're in Kansas City and you're fighting for playing time and you're coming to an end, you're thinking, you've always had to maybe fight for your spot, but it's a different type of pressure when someone gives you the armband. It's like, okay, well, now I don't have to necessarily fight for being in the lineup every day, although you do at some point, but it's more of like, how are we going to win as a team and how are we going to grow this as a team pressure? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of the reason that I knew my time was up in KC. Those were the conversations that Peter and I were having is like, hey, I want to be a bigger part of this. And even though I'm playing a decent amount, I feel like I can do more, I can be more. And when I kind of realized that, hey, my role might stay in a similar fashion, I think that's when I knew my time was up, even though we were 3 hours from family. I mean, it was a ideal situation for my family and I, especially as we were having kids and all this, but I knew that I kind of needed that new challenge. And so to come to a new place like this and my first time ever being traded in a new city, I think that definitely helped the transition for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Going off of, I remember being in the hotel with you on a free road trips and you would always somehow make up like some stupid game, whether it be like grabbing these half-filled water bottles and like sitting with your butt on the floor against the wall and like chucking it across the room to see how many you can make out of like 10. Just something like very detailed, but like so stupid.
So
like
dumb.
What's like the dumbest game you've ever like, whether it be like in Kansas City, like you guys probably created some stupid stuff.
Actually, before you answer that question, Robo again, going back to Robo, he told me that your biggest, I guess, I actually want to word it the right way. So while you think of the game that you thought of, I want to make sure that I word the way Robo wrote this again.
I mean, you guys basically started bottle flip before it became a thing a few years
Yeah, I
after
mean,
that,
I
right?
remember Josh Wolf. We would sit in the locker room and we would do the bottle flip thing. And it was, I want to say it was the 2010 World Cup team. Maybe before that. I don't know what it was, but it was one of the World Cup teams he was on. In the World Cup, he said
who
they
was
were
this?
doing it.
Josh
Wolf.
Okay. Josh didn't go to the 2010 World Cup.
Did he go to 2006?
2006. It would have been the 2006 World Cup. That's right. He said that they would do that so much in the locker room before the game, because if you do it enough, which is sad that I'm admitting this, your hammy starts to like tighten up because you're bent over in those chairs just at the right height that it's like an RDL.
It's like when you're picking weeds all day. It's like when you're picking weeds all day and you're coming with the sore hammy.
Exactly. But Josh said in the World Cup, he and I don't want to get it wrong, but I think he either had to like say he couldn't play or something, or he felt like maybe he shouldn't be subbed in because like his hammy was so tight from doing bottle flips. And that's a true story. So it's like that's kind of how it started. And then we just took it to another level. Like every time we would go to a hotel, we would, those like oval trash cans in every hotel on the side, we would get Gatorade bottles and there'd be like 4 of us and we'd gamble on who could make the most out of 5. And it would just be on like rotation after rotation. The dumbest one that I ever did.
I'll throw in the little Robo story right now while you're thinking, but he said that unfortunately for you, your biggest legacy that you left in Kansas City was bringing 22, the card game, to Kansas City.
He brought it to the league probably, because I feel like it's spread after that.
22
like wildfire.
That it is an MLS game. I thought about, can we somehow get
I'm wondering if fans
market?
know what that game is, because like if you ask any MLS player, at least an American player, like they'll know, right? Yeah. But I don't know if fans like
not, and it's hard to explain on.
It is. It's not worth. Like go look it up. Maybe it's on Google somewhere.
But okay, so back to the dumbest game. I mean, we played. They're all pretty much dumb. In our minds, though, it's what kept us going. Like the night before a match on the road. So you guys know that hotel in downtown Houston that it was like a square.
Yeah.
Always like look over.
Yeah.
We would
Shula's Steakhouse down at the bottom, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. So we'd go around that like square area, and we would your room key, your credit card room key.
Yeah.
We would pick something out, and we'd be like, "Oh, it's a par 3 to go to that doorknob," and so it'd be like, "All right, Sal, this is your hole, pick it," and so we'd be like, "All right, par 5," and so we all had a problem with like stupid games like this, and we all loved to golf. So it was like combining the two, and you'd fling your card and it'd skip, and some people would be like, "Oh, you lucked out," or "You sucked out there."
You had to hit someone's door.
Wait, isn't that the hotel?
Or like the actual doorknob?
Yeah.
Isn't that the hotel that's like an Embassy Suites where like there's
it's like a big giant pit in the middle, and then all the rooms on the outside.
So like, what if you try and throw it across, or would you not try?
That's the thing. Like,
it's a hazard, Benny.
We talk about like Harrington. All of a sudden, somebody at the
try
bar,
and go for it. Sometimes you try and drive it
down. Is going to get smoked by a room key. But that was probably one of the dumber ones. But I mean, it was great. It passed hours upon hours every road trip with these.
That's
games.
What you need sometimes.
Yeah.
So Jack, in the last probably 5-6 years. And I don't even know what this actor's name is, but I always bring it up to you. How often have you been,
Scooby-Doo
mistaken for the guy that plays Scooby-Doo was in Scream as well?
Oh, dude, I thought you were going to say someone else.
No, who?
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard. Go look up Matthew Lillard, put it side by side with Jack Jewsbury.
I'm going to look it up right now.
All right.
Jack,
but
anyway,
before we get into Plead the Fifth,
is more like
Matthew Lillard's more legit.
No, but I've gotten that one more, but it's just like this certain group of people that know about it that always bring it up.
All right, Jack, before we get into Plead the Fifth, I have one more story that I vaguely remember, but I'd like to hear it from you, and maybe a lot of the Timbers fans haven't heard it, but I think it was after we lost to Cal FC. I was out with my ACL injury that year, but it was a really bad loss, right? We lost an Open Cup to basically an amateur team that I think Winalda threw together like probably 2 weeks prior. Anyways, so we lost. After the game, was it a Timbers Army capo or a fan that was very angry, screaming at you guys? You almost got into a fight with him. Can we?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of emotions, right?
Yeah.
From embarrassment to frustration to my forehead was bleeding. So yeah, you're right in what happened. So again, we lose to Cal FC in overtime in the Open Cup. And to be fair, we played a decent team on the field as well. Like we should have won. I think we had like almost 50 shots or something. So it was nuts, right? It's just one of those games we couldn't finish. So 2012 was already a rough year. We had an awful start after, even though 2011 we didn't make the playoffs, I think we surpassed people's expectations with the group we had.
Yeah, we were very good at home that year, but bad on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I remember actually you and I remember coming on the field one day in training. And I think we had won 5 in a row at home. And I think I remember looking at you and I was like, dude, because we train at the stadium and it was like the day before. I'm like, there's no way we're losing tomorrow.
No,
like we knew when we were home.
But then on the road, we'd be like, yeah, we're probably going to lose this game.
Then it would go the other way. But yeah, so we lose to Cal FC. I had right before, it was like with 2 minutes left in the second overtime, I went up for a header and this guy elbowed me. And so I cut my forehead open. And so I sprint over. I mean, I've got blood gushing down. Nick Wald, our trainer's doing whatever to try to stop the blood, but I've got to like get in to try to score because we had a set piece. And so I've got all these different things going on. And so we lose the game. Obviously, people are booing as they should. We're frustrated, embarrassed, and as we're kind of walking off, so we go right under the Army where the tunnel is there to go into the locker room. And one of the capos was screaming at a few guys that were going in before me, like, take your jersey off. You don't deserve to wear the jersey. And with everything going on, and you know me, I'm pretty even tempered guy.
Pretty calm guy.
I just lost it. And so I kind of tried to jump up on the capo stand and pull myself up. And of course the coaches and stuff kind of pulled me back. And there was some backlash to that. There was some, Facebook stuff posted and, people had his back, people had my back. And so obviously the Army is what makes our stadium so special, and the atmosphere and our fans. But in that moment, I disagreed with the comments. It wasn't like we were trying to lose that game. But there were frustration, I think, from both sides. But yeah, that one blew up a little bit more than I wish it would have for sure.
Yeah. No,
I think we've all been there.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment, but I think you handled it well, and you could arguably say that was maybe the expansion Timbers so the MLS Timbers, that was maybe our low point, right? I mean, it pretty much was all up from there. I mean, that next year we won the Western Conference with Caleb's first year, and then I was gone, but obviously you guys went on to win MLS Cup. And was there any?
That was by far the low of our time there, but I think for that group that went through it, even in 2015 winning the championship, there was only, I think, 5 of us left.
Yeah.
From that 2011 team, 2012 team too. So it's like those guys that went through some of those awful moments had to go through in 2012. Not that everyone didn't appreciate the championship, but I think we appreciated it in a different way just because of some of the.
I mean, and surprisingly, you guys had some starters from. I mean, Rodney started, Chara started, Darlington, you. I mean, that's 3-4 years later, that's a decent amount of players that came from a, arguably not a successful year, was able to stay and stick with the team and then win an MLS Cup. So, yeah, it was good. But, I mean, it was.
Are we gonna talk about Zizos FC at all?
I mean, we can. We've talked about it a little bit. It's made appearances. Yeah.
All right, so I'm sure it's the same conversation.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it goes.
A hell of a meatball sub. I'll say that.
Yeah.
The cannolis were great.
Yeah.
You just had to hit it on the right day when it was open.
The hours were sketchy. It was tough to make sure.
If we're gonna bring up companies that we've started, we might as well talk about the gear that we're wearing. We should tell Jack to wear it as well. So we just we got Beasler and Seth's company, States gear, actually to wear today. We talked to Bees last week. We told him to send him some gear. So he sent us some gear. We're pretty pleased with it. So we'll let our fans know and yourself.
Bees after this.
Yeah, you should get your exactly.
States, love it. Looks good.
Yeah.
Get your soccer specific gear now. But are we done with the interview now?
Let's do some
boy.
Plead the Fifth.
All right. So look, this is our first time not the first time that we've done it without Ike, but the first time me and Sal are actually going to do it because we've had guest hosts come in. And so now me and Sal are going to do the Ike's interrogation. So as I usually do, I'll introduce you to your chair, which is going to start to warm up. So buckle up, get ready. Sal will ask you the first question. I'll jump in with some, and we'll kind of collaborate in 5 questions where you can plead the fifth once. Again, if you answer them all, you can ask us any question that you so choose. So Sal, first question is yours.
All right, Jack, you're on the hot seat. We'll go easy to start. All right, rank these teams that you've played on. Okay, it's just gonna be 3 teams. All right, 2004 Kansas City, you guys won Open Cup.
Yep.
2013 Portland Timbers, Caleb's first year. We won Western Conference, went to the semis.
Yeah.
Beat Seattle in the playoffs that year. All right, or the 2015 Portland Timbers MLS Cup champions.
So it's rank or just pick the first one?
Rank them from top to bottom, from worst to first.
Worst.
However you want to judge it to be, but
I'll say worst would be the 13 Portland team.
Man, I didn't want to play you guys in the finals that year.
Where we tied like 15-7 something ridiculous games. We only lost 4 or 5 games
that team was
year,
good,
right?
dude. I remember we were playing in the semifinals against Houston that year. And I knew you guys were playing against Salt Lake. And I remember thinking, I really hope Salt Lake beats them. So if we get to the finals, I'd rather play Salt Lake than Portland. So I'm surprised you put them at last. But you guys didn't win anything, I guess. So
yeah. Then I would go 04 KC and then 15 Timbers. And the reason being, I mean, even that 04 KC team, we had, Tony Miola was hurt, Preki, Klein. We had a bunch of guys injured. So we had a very, very young team that was able to be really successful, win the Open Cup, and surprise a lot of people to go to an MLS Cup, obviously lose the game. But that was just like a special team for me. It was just a group that, you always talk about locker rooms and how special those are.
Yeah.
That was a group that just fought for each other. And maybe we weren't the most talented team, but we made the most of our talent.
Yeah.
So that's why that's there. And then 15's just, again, I was 34 years old. I'd never won an MLS Cup. So I never knew if I'd get another chance. And that team just had something special at the end of the year. We had a really interesting mix of young, talented guys, right? Valeri was still relatively new on the scene in MLS, 2 years into it. Nagby finally kind of coming into his own. Chara now's an absolute beast in MLS. Yeah. And then we had guys like, Nat that had just joined the team and had, a crazy amount of experience. And we just had a ton of different leaders with Liam and Nat, myself, Will Johnson, a bunch of guys on that team that knew what it took to win. And it didn't matter if we were, on the road or at home, you just felt like we had a chance in every game. So that's why that would be my number one.
Yep. And in that vein where you were talking about the KC team, here's my question for you. Question 2, same thing. Rank these from first to worst. There's 5 of them though, in order of first to worst for KC teammates. I think they were all there in 2004. So you got your best friend forever, Davey Arnaud. You got Jimmy Conrad. You got Nick Garcia, crazy Nick Garcia. You got Josh Wolf, and you got Kerry Zavagny.
All right. Worst to first on those 5. Geez.
Only Davey listens to the podcast, just so you know. So
yeah, no. Kerry and I always had kind of a weird relationship. We both were holding midfielders. We always were kind of fighting for the same spot, it seemed like, even though I mixed around and played some different spots throughout my time there. So I'd say Carey's probably 5. Nikki G, number 4. Jimmy, number 3. Wolfie, 2. And Mr. Arno, number 1.
Fair enough.
Well done.
Fair enough. All right. We'll go. Okay. We'll go here. We'll go here.
Number 3.
And this
Number 3,
is a tough question because I've played for both clubs, right? And in Portland, they hold the fans and the club. It's a special place in my heart. Seriously, I love these fans, right?
Yeah.
Kansas City, likewise.
You're
right?
not on the hot seat, bro. What are you
No,
trying? You're trying to pull
listen,
something.
Listen,
I don't know what I'm
and
about to be asked.
likewise, Kansas City. The one year I was there showed me a lot of love. Big fans of their fans.
Yeah.
Now I'm not the one that's going to answer this question, so I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Who's the better fan base / club? Sporting KC / Wizards, I guess, or Portland Timbers?
So when you say you said 2 different
However
things
you
there.
want to interpret it.
You said
however
fan
you want
base
to
/ club.
Yeah.
I asked him to ask it in a different way, but
all
he
of the
asked
above.
it that way.
All of the above. I mean, however you want to judge it in your head.
Well, I am employed by the Portland Timbers. Let's remember that.
That's true.
Gosh, it's
You can plead the 5th.
no, I won't do that. I'm not going to do that. Not yet. I got 2 more coming. I don't know what's coming my way.
I could tell you this is one of the tougher ones, though.
I would say Portland for me is number 1. And the reason I say that is because, and KC holds a special place in my heart. Don't get me wrong. That new ownership group, unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to play in the new stadium other than as an opponent. And I was super excited about that. That was one of the main things that was hard, not only leaving family, but, I had been there through Community America. I had been there to walk through the stadium with Cliff and Neil and all these guys. And I loved what they were doing with the club and where it was going. I mean, from my early days in Arrowhead, where for the Open Cup final, we had like 68 people in the stadium. And they were all Cauldron members, to Community America. I mean, we played in some pretty tough places and there wasn't a ton of excitement around the team. So
Were you surprised with what it became?
I'm absolutely surprised. And I still to this day will say, I think it's the best story in MLS history of the transformation that's happened in that market. It is absolutely crazy to see what goes on in those games and playing there and seeing how special it is and how much, the Beaslers and the Zuzis that have been around since day one have been able to make it a home. And those guys are, you talk about, the Chiefs players and the Royals players that I remember being household names. Matt Beasler and Graham Zuzi are household names in the sports world.
Benny Fallhaber.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. You guys are a big deal. That wasn't the case when I was there. Like,
right.
No one knows who I am or Davey Arno. They don't. There's some hardcore fans that understand.
I think
that.
You're wrong about that, but I get where you're coming from.
To a certain extent, it's totally changed. You'd go to the mall in KC, there was no Wizards jerseys that people could buy. And so when I came to Portland, and it was the complete opposite. I mean, we were a harder ticket than a Blazers ticket to get.
Yeah.
People, Sal,
it was incredible.
You'd walk down the street and everybody knows who you are. So to come here and get that feeling has been different. It's been special. I mean, being the captain of the club is another thing. I never thought when I got traded here, I'd be here for 6 years as a player. You always just kind of think, all right, where's the next stop after this? So Portland will always have a special place in our heart. One of my daughters was born here. So we love this place. That's why we called it home. So I'd put Portland atop that list, but it's a close second.
Good answer. Good answer.
Nice. All right. Now, this is my last question. This is number 4. So I'll have the grand finale, and this one's a toughie as well. This one you don't have to rank. You just pick one. Who has the biggest ego? Nick Garcia, Jimmy Conrad, or Caleb Porter?
I'll go. Let me tell you this, Jack. I'll go easy on you in the last one if you wanted to plead, but If you're gonna answer this, I'm gonna go guns a-blazing on 5.
No, I want to hear what he has to ask you, Sal.
The bigger ego. Oh God. Well, they would all tell you that they have a big ego, first of all.
Right. So then it
and
should
that's
be an
why
easy
they've
answer.
all been very successful. So I'm
That's
trying
right.
to be PC here. Oh man. I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Okay. Good. Okay, I can give you a layup then on the last one. All right.
You don't have to.
Well, this other one, we want to keep you employed by the Portland Timbers. So. All right. Rank these expansion teams that you'd like to play for. Ready? St. Louis, Austin, and Sacramento.
What do you mean like to play for? He's retired.
Yeah, if you could play for one of them, say you're magically coming back to play.
Yeah.
Which one would you choose?
So Sacramento would be the last place that I would choose.
Yeah.
I've never been to Austin, but I mean, actually, I might have a chance to play there. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Your two
you got
like best
Wolfie as
friends
the head
are
coach.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Davey's
that's right.
going to be an assistant.
Yeah.
I might have a chance.
Or is it the hometown, right?
Well, yeah. So I went to school in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I know.
Are you still leading goal scorer for high school, by the way?
No, I don't think 59 held up.
Nah, you got broken.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
too bad.
So I'd say Austin would be second. St. Louis would be first.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. St. Louis. I'll be honest. I actually didn't think it was going to happen once. They had a couple iterations of their USL team that had folded and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's crazy. There'd be a few college games where we'd get 6,000 fans during my time.
They said St. Louis was the original soccer city, right? I mean, it was the hub for soccer back in the day. So
I feel like everybody says
it'll be
that,
exciting.
Doesn't everybody say that?
Everybody says that, but I've heard
KC
St.
says
Louis.
it's the soccer capital of the United States.
Well, no, Portland Soccer City, USA.
Yeah, there you
Portland
go.
Soccer City. Like everybody says it's
San
the-
Diego
We're official.
Soccer
We
City.
put it on our seats. It says SC USA on our seats, so it makes it official.
Yeah.
But no, I think St. Louis is great for many reasons. Like, you guys know this. Like, KC was always searching for who's our rival.
Right.
Like, is it Chicago? Is it Salt Lake? Just because we fight in preseason? Like,
yeah.
Because of Benny and Beckerman, right? I mean,
Roger started the fight, dude. I came in halfway through.
But I think it'll be good for them to have a natural, rivalry right there. And
yeah.
So anyway, I'm excited to see that.
Awesome. You're off the hot seat, bro. Well done.
That's
you
it.
only
I
pled
think
the fifth
I
once.
chose the right one.
Yeah. Well, at least we don't have to answer one of your tough questions. So, but that's all we got for you, dude. So we really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
It's been fun to watch you, and now for me, as I'm retired in the last 6 months, I'm going to try and follow in your footsteps as well. So, you've done a really good job after retirement, and so
Jack, how old are your girls?
We look
now?
up to you.
Yeah. How old are your girls now?
My girls are 8 and 11. So
8 and 11.
Yeah. So our oldest is going into.
Dude, I'm telling you, does anybody have boys anymore?
I don't know.
It started in KC. It was like girls galore.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Sal's got three girls.
I got three. You've probably seen on.
I have two as well. Jack, I have 2 girls, and then we accidentally made a boy. Where we thought we were done, and we accidentally made a boy. So we got lucky with the boy. But
well, I love having girls. So
it's all. I mean, it's awesome
amazing.
having like the boys and the girls. Really, I mean, I guess you guys can't speak for having a son, but
we thought about 3. we thought about going for one more, but man-to-man defense is
it's
pretty
tough.
good for us.
3 is no joke. People always are like, once you have 2, 3 is fine. No, dude, 3 is a game changer, man.
Yeah, it's the zone
it makes it so much harder.
So what are the ages of your guys?
I have a 6-year-old that just turned 6 on Friday. So
I see the signs in the back.
Yeah, that's right. We got the balloons and everything. The balloons in front here, but 6, 4, and little guy's 15, almost 16 months now.
Nice.
Yeah, I got 5, 3, and just turned 2. So all girls. So I'm where you were probably when we were in Portland.
Yeah. Those are the fun times though.
You miss it a little bit,
something
right?
new, man. Every day there's something new.
Well, yeah, we're with everything going on with the COVID. It's been an interesting, few months of school's out now, but during school being being the parent and the teacher and trying to do all
Dude,
that.
I
Even
can't
though
imagine, dude.
my wife was like a third grade teacher, it's still difficult. You're your parent, so they don't listen in the same way. But
yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on. It's always good to catch up.
Yeah, dude.
Keep up the good work. You guys are killing it with this.
Thanks, man.
Jack.
And maybe we'll get on another Zoom call sometime soon. I've been seeing you, a lot of you, so
I know. We need
it's
to
been
keep
nice.
this going.
All right, dude. Have a good night.
Jack.
Thanks a lot for coming on, bro.
Thanks,
See you guys.
Jack. Appreciate
Later.
it, man.